Hello, Internet, and thank you for joining me today. So, for the past about 3 weeks or so, I've been watching Trolls band together back to back for reasons that I can't exactly discuss. So, I thought I'd go ahead and pull Kirsch's dirty thong out of my mouth long enough to make a video about it. So, really, the first thing you gotta know about the Trolls franchise as a whole is that it's goddamn gigantic. So I thought I'd just give you the real quick cliff notes on the series as a whole. The first movie is good enough. I mean, it's not all that great. It's just generally inoffensive, and it kind of makes it boring to talk about, but it's fine, I guess. The second movie is kind of an overambitious sequel that takes itself a little too serious for my taste. They try to expand on the world, but they end up just kind of creating a whole bunch of plot holes, and it's kind of a mess, but it's, again, just fine. It's not gonna, kill anybody. And then the Trolls series, there's multiple of them, and I don't know how to say series in plural. I don't know what the etymology of that word is. But the various Troll series, they're a sick joke, and they prove that the devil is a real thing, and that they're really only enjoyed by little kids and awful people like your aunt and Amy Schumer. To summarize that last little ramble there, the Trolls franchise is just another DreamWorks franchise that's actually probably going to be really prominent in a lot of kids' childhoods, and it's still not going to be as good as How to Train Your Dragon. So we move on to the third Trolls movie here. The movie opens on a boy band concert where series supporting character Branch is hanging out with a whole bunch of new characters that we've never met before. And Branch is a baby, and apparently they're all brothers, and apparently they're all in a band, which makes this band of brothers, canonically, 100%. The beaches of Normandy have never been more adorable. But anyway, the concert goes tits up, and we jump back to the current day where we find out that, Poppy and Branch, they're together, everyone's happy. The Bergens, who were completely missing in the second movie, are getting married, and it's their wedding day. And of course, the wedding gets crashed by the, head brother, I guess, from that opening scene, which is Branch's brother. And we learn from him the conflict of the movie, which is that the overly sensitive brother from that opening scene is getting milked like a Bad Bunny viewer. And the person that's milking him is, I'm really struggling to think of what joke I want to make here. There's a dozen talentless hacks in Hollywood that I want to throw in here. So let's just throw in Ashley Simpson. It's going to date me a bit, but you know what? I'm sticking by it. Anyway, halfway through making this script, I decided that I didn't want to just recap the movie. I wanted to actually talk about some of the themes that were doing it. So I'm just going to leave it with that setup that, Ashley Simpson has kidnapped the troll, who is the brother of Branch, and he's getting milked dry by her for talent, I guess. I don't know how that works, but you know what? It's magic and it's trolls, so we're just going to go with it. And that brother getting milked is going to be saved by Branch and a whole team of new characters with Poppy. All right. Now, with that setup out of the way, let's move on to the actual dissection of this film. It's been out for a while, and what I really thought about it. So I think that the film really fits into the Trolls media empire because it doesn't fit. All of these are loosely tied together with the main cast. I mean, the main cast is consistent, which makes it kind of hard to talk about because the world around them is not consistent. We start off in the first one, and it's a very small story about how, these magical creatures are being eaten, and there's the ones that are eating them. They, escape that, but then they have to, go back and rescue one of their own, and they all learn a valuable lesson about being yourself or something. I'm summarizing this horribly, but the first movie is very simple. It's a very fairy tale like story. The second one really kind of jumps the shark, and there's all these other trolls, and all of a sudden the Bergens don't really matter, and all of a sudden the other trolls that apparently existed, they weren't being eaten by the Bergens like in the first one. So we're really not following consistent timeline. Like, it's not point A, point B, point C. But throughout that, you can really track where, there is a beginning, middle, and end for each character's kind of arc. The first one more or less is about Branch's character arc, and he's kind of a secondary character to Poppy because we view everything through Poppy's perspective. And then we get a much more Poppy-focused story in the second movie where, she's got to learn to be a leader and how she's going to lead. And she questions herself, but then she finds out she's not wrong. But there's too much else going on to super dig deep on that. And so I think this third one really comes out and says what they've been trying to say for quite a while, throughout the whole series, really, that this is just character focused, and the rest of the world doesn't really matter all that much. And now that I say that, I want to immediately contradict it by saying that the third movie is not focused on Poppy or Branch. It's really focused on all of these supporting characters, all of these, third dairy characters, because I already said Branch was a secondary character. So these are all going to be third dairy characters. The biggest example of this is that we find out that Poppy, our ostensibly main character up till this point, has a long lost sister. And that sister, she gets a lot of screen time by really just kind of showing up. She has like PTSD from the Bergens, and that doesn't really mesh because, we saw in the second movie that, there's all these other trolls that have never seen a Bergen. So, like, why does she have this trauma and, none of the trolls in the second movie really did? It's inconsistent, but the focus on these characters is actually kind of interesting because you get hints at what they're trying to say with this movie to kids. And it's really just for kids. And so with all that being said, you might ask yourself as a reasonable individual, what is the message? Well, it's kind of be yourself, family is important, accept others, all mixed together. It's punching above its weight class, but it's actually working. It's kind of hard to describe why all of this works, and I think it's that focus on the, third string characters, all these new characters that they're bringing in addition to, the characters we already know from the first two movies being there. It allows them to say so many different things and convey so many different messages within those stories. Like, having so many brothers makes it easy to convey the be yourself message because all of them want to have their own individuality, but the leader brother is trying to keep them as basically stereotypes throughout the movie because that's the only way that he can get them to function as a band. And so when they finally break out of that and realize they can just accept themselves for who they are, it, is a huge breakthrough moment. But I think what's super important is that they don't shy away from telling you that, hey, it's important to support your family. You just have to do it in the right way. You have to allow them to be themselves. which I don't think is explored nearly enough in children's media. So, families are really going to love this movie. And I kind of want to compare this to Inside Out from earlier in the year, even though Trolls came out this year, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, but the main differences are going to be that, Inside Out was the weaker of the two, in my opinion, because it's trying to build a ton of different characters, including the ones from the previous movie, and they don't do it nearly as well as Trolls band together. In the Trolls movie, they are basically done with Poppy and Branch's development. They have, they're not trying to push them anywhere new. That is, so it's really refreshing because we are allowed time to let the other characters breathe and make jokes and all of that. Since this is a Trolls review, I do feel like I need to address the elephant in the room, that there's a ton of musical talent in here. You got to call out Anna Kendrick and JT for their great work. I always love seeing them. They're both great actors, so I don't have any problems with it. I think that the music is probably the best in this third entry in the franchise. Weirdly enough, the whole jukebox musical thing is not my favorite thing in the world, but the Trolls franchise has historically been okay with it. And this is the first time that I actually was like, okay, I could see myself listening to some of these mashups outside of this movie. Maybe, probably not a whole lot because, I'm an adult or whatever. But, it's a pretty solid mix of music. If I were to give the whole film a rating, I would give it a solid stream it whenever the hell you feel like it out of meh. So with the bulk of the review out of the way, I do want to kind of just do a little bit of house cleaning here. Do you guys like these shorter videos? According to my view counter in YouTube Studios, if I keep my videos 20 minutes or under, I seem to get a lot more views and engagement on them, as opposed to anytime I make a longer video. So I was just kind of wondering what you guys thought about that. If you want to leave a comment down below, I'll be sure to read on that. Also, I would like to take movie suggestions in my comments. If you want to suggest a movie for me to watch and review and maybe give a somewhat humorous ramble on, I will be sure to do that. I tend to ramble on, so if you want to just drop a movie as opposed to like a series or something down there, it takes a lot more time to record and edit and script all that if I'm doing a longer form thing like a television series or something like that. Also, if you like this video, be sure to let me know by leaving a like down below, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'm growing and I love doing this, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these in the future. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.